Thank you. All right, everyone. So welcome. We are so excited to have you here today. And aloha from Hawaii Volcanoes National Park on the Big Island of Hawaii. This is Ranger Jody, and we are inside the rainforest, and right behind us, you're going to see the beautiful crater, the Kilauea crater. As you notice right now, it is not erupting, but it does not make it any less fantastic. What you're seeing now is some steam vents. So we'll be panning back and forth from where we're standing right here to right behind us. But welcome to Crossing America. We want to thank the National Park Foundation so much for their collaboration. This year, we have reached over 300,000 students, connecting them to 20 national parks in our country, connecting them to the lands that they're part of, that they own, that they're being good stewards of. We have been in 13 classrooms in 10 states, and we have visited, as we said, 20 different national parks. So thanks so much again to the National Park Foundation. We're going to go ahead and get started here. So again, National Park Foundation, which is a philanthropic arm of the National Park Service. They do so many wonderful things, and we're so thankful that they've sponsored us for year 2 of Crossing America, and we hope to do this next year also. We are in Hawaii. So if you're using social media right now, you're going to see the tags and hashtags on the screen. So all of my social media teachers, make sure that you are screenshotting and sharing what's happening in your classroom. Don't forget to tag us at Daisha92, also the National Park Foundation, and tag us here at the Hawaii Volcanoes. So Ranger Jody is going to start with us first. So Steve, if you can put Ranger Jody back on camera for just a moment. Ranger Jody, first of all, aloha, and thank you for allowing us to be here in this beautiful rainforest. And right behind us is the crater. Can you tell these kids where we are and what is the mission of the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park?
Sure. Well, aloha and e komo mai, which means welcome in Hawaiian. You can practice that in the classroom. E komo mai. And we are standing in a rainforest right now that's within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. And the national park spans a big part of the Big Island of Hawaii. And Hawaii Island is one of a chain of islands that are in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And Hawaii Volcanoes National Park was established in 1916. It actually included a volcano that is on Maui Island. That's called Haleakala National Park. At one point we split up, but we're still called Hawaii Volcanoes National Park because we encompass 2 volcanoes on this island, Kilauea and Mauna Loa. And our mission has 3 parts. We are interested in sharing the amazing aspects of active volcanoes with the world. We have very diverse and rare plants and animals in the park. And also we want to share Hawaiian culture with the world, with visitors and with people like you who are doing the call with us.
Well, we're thrilled to bring kids from all over the country and Canada here today to watch this and to feel like they are part of this, because they are. It doesn't matter the miles that we span. We're all part of this endeavor to make the world a better place by taking care of nature. We want to talk a little bit about the volcanoes. So we're going to start with some trivia questions first.
Oh, yeah.
So students, I want you to get ready because you're going to show us your best knowledge. Before we start though, I want to just see where we're coming from. So teachers, can you please drop in the chat window where you are in our world? Maybe you can drop in the state, or if you want to shout out to your school, you can. So let's do that now. Tell us where you're from. I am originally from North Carolina, so we're about 5,000 miles from home right now. Ranger Jody, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Connecticut.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a good span for
A
you to
big-
be here now, and you've been here for 4 years, is that correct?
Yes.
Leanne, can you tell us where people are coming from today?
From the far corners of the world, it seems. We have Columbia, Tennessee, and Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We have lots of students in Maryland and Chicago and Utah. West Virginia is filling up our chat. Birmingham, Alabama, Atlanta, Georgia, Greensboro, North Carolina, Lexington, South Carolina, and I'm going to try to say this correctly, Kankakee, Illinois. We're from everywhere.
That is wonderful. So we're all under the same big sky today. Ours is just rising and you guys are later in the afternoon, but we're here to share some wonderful things. So let's get started with some trivia questions. So we're going to ask that the teachers poll your class and you can drop in your answers, but we're going to start trivia with Ranger Jody. So our first question is going to be a number. So how many potentially active volcanoes are there in the world? So let's give you
absolutely
just a moment.
Go. Yeah, you can do it individually. Go ahead.
Miss Zimmerman, you are all right, so let's see what the answers are. Miss Zimmerman, if you can see any answers about how many potentially active volcanoes are there in the world?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. 1,017. There's 336, 1,000, 1,042, 54, 472, 5,678, 37.
Okay, well, a lot. So we've got this huge range here. So let's put them out of their misery, Ranger Jody. So can we go ahead and share now how many volcanoes are actually in the world?
Yes. So according to geologists, there's approximately 1,350 active volcanoes in the world. So some of you were close in your guesses. Good job. And the amazing thing to me also is that more than 80% of the Earth's surface is made from volcanoes. So we really have to thank volcanoes. Mahalo is the word thank you in Hawaiian. Mahalo volcanoes for creating the crust on which we live.
Great. So let's go to our next question. And Rodney, this time I'm going to ask you to shout out for us where we're seeing the most answers. So this is going to be true or false. So there's a 50% chance you could get this right. Lava is the name for magma that has come out of the Earth's crust. So true or false, throw those in. And Rodney, where are we seeing most of the answers fall?
Oh, that is a resounding true.
Well, I'm hoping that we're right, because if they're all saying that, that means either their teachers have done a really good job or we've read the wrong information. So Ranger Jody, what is the answer to that?
Yes, it is true. I saw those answers coming in fast. So you're correct. That's what we call it once it comes out. And when it comes out at its hottest, it can be about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
That is pretty hot. Yeah. All right. So let's go to our next question and let's get ready. So Robin, I'm going to ask this time if you will be my checker. So the question is, true or false? All volcanoes are formed in the same way. So let's put that up there, true or false. And then Robin, if you can just let me know, what are the resounding answers here?
Well, it looks like we have mostly false, mostly false. I will add that we've gotten a few messages to ask Ranger Jody to speak up.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, but mostly false, 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 false.
All right, well, let's check out the answer on that. So Jody, what is the answer?
It is false. You're correct. So very good. There are different ways that volcanoes form. A lot of times they form on a subduction zone of two tectonic plates. But in Hawaii, they form on a hot spot, which is a weak part of the Earth's crust where the magma has a chance to come out and form islands. There's about 30 to 40 hot spots in the world.
All right, so our last question, let's see what we can do here. True or false, Hawaii is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire. So Katina, I think you're with us today also hosting. Will you take a look at the screen? Don't answer yet. Let's give them just a moment. But Hawaii is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire. And Katina, what are you seeing?
We are seeing a lot of true answers.
Okay. And I'm not against that because that's exactly what I thought when I came here. But Jody, you're going to tell us something different. It's false. And why?
Yes, and a lot of people, that's almost a trick question. So the Pacific Ring of Fire goes around the edges of the Pacific Plate, where there are subduction zones that I was talking about. And so there's a lot of volcanoes there. Most of those are called stratovolcanoes or composite volcanoes with the steep sides. Hawaii is in the middle of the Pacific Plate. So we're not on that ring of fire. We're in the middle of the plate on the hot spot that happens to be right there. And the volcanoes that form here in Hawaii are called shield volcanoes. They have a shallower slope.
All right. Well, I know that you brought some things that we can see today. So let's take a moment, and she's going to be picking up some lava. So I think she's going to hold it up or maybe go just a little bit closer. Tell us about this, Jody.
All right. So we've got two different types of lava. It forms when the lava's drying. This type right here is called.
Sorry, Dr. Drizzle and Ranger Jody, we can't hear you. We can hear Dr. Drizzle really well. We cannot hear Ranger Jody as well. Maybe it's her mic.
Okay. It could be. Go ahead and talk again. I've got my mic here ready for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how's this sound?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, something with my mic. So this piece of lava right here is called Ah. And if you want to try to say that in the classroom, Ah. And some people remember it because it's sharp and pointy. And if you were going to try to walk on this, it would really hurt. So it would hurt. And this forms when lava dries and it's a thicker lava. Think about like brownie batter rolling down a slope. It's going to tumble over itself and form clumps like this. Now there's another type that I'll reach back and get.
Oh, so sorry.
And this type forms when the lava is smoother and thinner, like Hershey syrup. It flows down the hill and it dries in smooth, ropey patterns. And this has a longer name. It's called Hawai'i. And if you want to say that in the classroom, it's Hawai'i. Okay, got a couple more things to share. Sometimes lava flies through the air and it dries in the air. So this right here is called a lava bomb. And it's not going to explode right now. We don't have to worry, but it comes from an explosion out of the volcano. A big clump of lava dries and it forms a football shape like this. It's aerodynamic. And these can actually be really big. They can be so big that if they were to hit you, if you were standing in the wrong place, you could actually get hurt from it. And then, oh, thank you. And then the other things that will form drying in the air are, take one out of the box here. Thank you. So this is real small. This is called a Pele's tear. Pele is traditionally thought to be a goddess or a deity, an entity who is living in the volcano, or just the name of all the lava is all called Pele. And this is known as a Pele's tear because it's a teardrop shape and it forms just like the lava bomb. It shoots up the volcano and it dries, but in this case, it dries as glass, black glass. And oftentimes, as that's flying, there will be a thin strand of lava that dries real thin and also is glass. Oh, thank you, Dr. Drizzle. And this I'm not going to take out because this can sometimes get pokey and poke into your hand. But this is all called Pele's hair. And it can form clumps like that on the ground. But when it starts, it's just one thin strand attached to the Pele's tear. And then it breaks off and you'll find it on the ground. So those are some of our more interesting things that we find.
I'm going to give you this back.
Thank you.
We're going to just hang together, but you can lay that down right there. So we are in Hawaii. We're right behind us is the volcanoes, but they're not erupting right now.
Correct.
So the last eruption was just a month ago, maybe.
A couple months ago.
Now, you told us that this can happen at any time.
It's true.
So we are listening for rumbles. There would be an earthquake first,
Right.
and that's going to tell us. We may sense some things. Animals may even sense that it's going to happen before we do. But we do have some footage of the Mauna Loa eruption and the Kilauea. So here's what we're going to do, kids. Let's go back to the screen for just a moment. We are going to do a word cloud. So teachers, what I want you to do, and maybe some of the ambassador or my host can drop this in the chat window. We're going to ask your kids to come up with words that they feel when they see this following footage. It's about 2 minutes long. It's from the USGS, and it is going to be of the eruptions of this lava flowing. So we're going to be putting all of this into Answer Garden. So teachers, if you can get a computer open and ready, or just write these words down and you can input these later. We're going to try to build this beautiful map today of how we feel about this beautiful place. So it can be words that describe what you see. It can be words that describe how you feel. One of our hosts today says that she has an irrational fear of lava. We won't tell you that it's Leanne Zimmerman from Tennessee. So when she's watching this, she may feel scared, but I want to see what you feel. So students, get ready. If you'll make sure you have a pencil ready. Teachers, if you have an opportunity to get this website open, feel free to do that. You're going to notice as more people input into this, words are going to get bigger or smaller. So let's see what this is going to look like. So let's go ahead and start the video. So remember, you are writing down words that are invoking emotion in you. It could be your scientific side. So you're giving us actual words that describe what you're seeing scientifically. It could be words that you describe and just how you feel seeing this amazing works of nature. But whatever you're feeling, it's all valid. We want to see all of these beautiful words. So either write them down or call them out to your teacher, and then we will share this word cloud with you. If it's pulled up in your classroom right now on the screen, you might see those words. Just another few seconds of this. So I hope that got you excited. It did me, and I've seen this multiple times, and I know you have too. Teachers, you can find all of these videos on the USGS site. You will be able to see volcanic eruptions from all over the world, but if you specifically want to see them here at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, you can filter that out. So again, what a beautiful place. But this is not all about volcanoes, right? There are multiple things here, lots of flora and fauna, plants and animals that we see. In fact, while we're just standing here, we're seeing lots of birds. Yes. And we're seeing the pheasants and the chickens and all the things running around here. We're not going to see snakes here, though. That's one thing I really like. There might be, but that's really not what you're known for, right?
Right. We do have snakes, but we're not known for poisonous snakes. And the snakes we have are tiny, tiny.
Tiny, tiny. But we do have something else. So let's go back to the screen for a minute. And I want to show you a beautiful bird here. So will you tell us about this bird?
Sure. This is called a nene. And you can practice that in the classroom, nene. And it's spelled N-E with a line over the top of it. That's called a kahako. And then N-E, also kahako over the E. And that is it's a Hawaiian goose, and it is our state bird. And we're going to take a look at how these arrived in Hawaii. So we say that anything that's considered native to Hawaii Island or any of the islands arrived one of three ways. They either came by wind or waves or the wings of a bird. So in the case of the geese, they came by their own wings. And it's thought that an ancestor of Canada geese got flown off path, a couple of them did at least, and they ended up in the Hawaiian Islands. And then over time, they evolved into 7 different types of geese that you see in this picture. One of them, the one that's the tallest, was 4 feet tall. So how tall are you? Was that goose taller than you are? Imagine walking around. And they mostly walked around, actually. Unfortunately, over time, most of the geese were hunted or they lost their habitat. So all but one is left. And the nene is what's left. And if you take a look at this picture here, you can see one of the ways that the nene has evolved over time with its feet. So on the left, you see a Canada goose. And what do you notice there? You could put that in the chat. What are the differences between the Canada goose feet and the nene's feet?
Leanne, if anyone's dropping that in the chat right now, what are the differences that you see, these adaptations, if you will? What differences do you see between the Canada goose or the nene? Do we have anything that's being dropped in the chat window, Leanne?
We do. One looks more dried out. The webbing is smaller. The claws are sharper. The width of the webbing, sharper nails, different colors.
Excellent. Yes, and that's exactly right. So over time, that ancestor of the Canada goose just did not need to fly around. There weren't as many natural predators at that time in Hawaii. So it evolved to have feet that were better for walking around on lava. So those nails and that space between the webbing is easier for them, especially if they're walking on that lava. They don't want to get a cut in the webbing.
I just got it.
Yes.
Because, okay, sorry, that was a little long for me. It took me just a moment, but Dr. Drizzle is with it now. So I think it'd be neat if they could see some of these nenes. All right. So let's look at a real short video, and we want you to also hear them. Okay. So let's look at a video of the nenes. All right, so they're beautiful and there's nothing wrong, right? They're happy and they're living free, or is there something?
Well, unfortunately, so the nene, there were about 25,000 nene back in the late 1700s, but by 1952, there were only 30 left, which is tragic. So they almost went extinct. Thankfully, some very forward-thinking people started to save them and breed them. And now places like national parks and state parks and conservation organizations are helping to protect the nene. They were at one point on the endangered species list. Now they've been moved to the threatened list, but they are still protected by the Endangered Species Act. And these days, there's just under 4,000. So we're getting back up there, which is great, but we do need to protect them.
And that's from humans as well as animals, because I noticed that there are signs on the road that say brake for nenes. Make sure you're not speeding on the roads. And that's for other animals too, but especially. So as we know, we're trying to save the nene. So we have a STEM challenge. Most of you have already seen it and come up with ideas. We're basing this off UN Global Goal number 15, Life on Land. So we're thinking about how these invasive species are rooting out our native species, right? And we have one in particular, the feral cat. So we have asked you to come up with an idea for the national parks to help them in their campaign to take care of the invasive species. And there are a lot of invasive species around here. We actually, on the very first slide that we saw, I took a beautiful picture of this gorgeous flower and then found out that it was actually invasive. And we're not mad at the invasive species. It's really not their fault they're here, but we do have to take care of the native species because invasive species take the resources away from what's already here. So your challenge was to come up with an idea that could help Ranger Jody and her team protect the resources that are here at the park. So this is the time that I love to work with. We are going to be talking about the actual why they're okay, so let's, before we share, would you tell us very quickly, Jody, why are those nenes banded?
Yes. So for species where there are so few, scientists like to track them. And so those bands help know individual nene. Every band has a number and it doesn't hurt the nene. It's like a bracelet, but they wear those and as many as they can band as possible, because if people see a nene, or unfortunately, if a nene gets hit by a car, which you mentioned does happen a lot because people need to slow down, they'll know which one went missing.
And they do this in multiple places around the world. We know that in Voyageurs National Park, they band wolves, or they track wolves. They track sea turtles. They track alligators at Big Cypress. So that's just part of the scientific process.
Yes.
So Leanne, we're going to give you and the host a big job right now. We're going to ask teachers to raise your hand virtually on your Zoom call. There's a little reaction button you can choose. And we're going to be able to take a few questions live or prototypes live, telling us how you would solve this problem for the national parks. So Leanne, I'm going to turn it over to you to call out the teacher's name and have them unmute.
Okay. Waiting on someone who has something to share.
All right, teachers, get those hands raised. We want to
Right.
see some of your ideas.
Here we go. Rachel Cairo. And Ms. Schwankamp, you're on deck.
Okay, girls, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, start sharing.
So our idea is called Problems in the Parks. There's many things for it. It can be many national parks. But our main idea is for Hawaii volcanoes.
To help with the population of the
So we're doing Problems in the Park to help decrease, well, not really decrease, well, raise awareness about some invasive species in national parks, mainly Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. This is basically, we're making an app on Google Slides that's it's called Problems in the Park, and it has many like facts and stuff about the species. Yeah, and
Anything else, girls?
no.
So an app.
All right. Well,
That's awesome.
don't you like the idea of that being an
Yes.
app? Because that
I
can be
do.
accessible to so many people. most people carry cell phones, right? So they would be
Yes.
able to use that app. Thank you for sharing that. Leanne, who's
Mahalo.
next?
All right, Rachel Cairo, are you ready? Go ahead, Rachel.
We see you.
I think like to help them like the nenes, like you could like build like a small bridge or tunnel over the roads and out of recycled materials.
Very nice.
I love that. So you're talking
Yeah.
about wildlife crossings, and we love wildlife crossings, finding new ways for nenes to get across a place
Mhm.
so they wouldn't be hit by a car. I like that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Rachel. Leanne,
right.
we have time for a few more.
All right, we've got lots of hands raised. So let's go to Miss Shalini.
Hello.
Aloha.
To make a poster that I had an idea to make a poster that says to keep cats inside to make sure that the feral cats don't hunt the birds.
Awesome.
And talk about that for a moment. How important is that to raise awareness about people taking care of the animals they have?
Yes, it's so important. Mahalo nui for that, which means thank you very much, because no matter where you live, cats being outside is a problem. And I know a lot of people like to let their cats outside, but if they're loose, they do go around and they kill birds, and they can spread diseases called toxoplasmosis. So it's really important if you have a pet like that to keep it inside. And it doesn't go stray and then start breeding other cats that become feral wild cats.
And that doesn't mean we don't love our cats.
Right.
It means we love them more, that we're taking care of those. So thank you for sharing that idea, Leanne.
All right, Amanda Roops.
Turn your video on. Don't share your screen.
One of our ideas.
Start your video.
How? Where?
It's okay. Just keep talking.
Video.
One idea is to make little like stations where like the cats can smell food and they go inside, and like a ranger can like clean it up a little bit. It won't like get rid of all the bad germs, so it would like kind of help from spreading diseases.
So they don't spread diseases. And then another idea is to like get guard dogs that are fully trained to like round up the feral cats and like direct them to an area where the rangers can get them to a vet so they can't reproduce.
I love the idea of guard dogs.
Yes,
that could be another program.
I'm picturing it now.
Dogs to have little hats and lassos. That would be cute.
Park rangers.
Kids, these are such fun ideas because you guys don't have any preconceived ideas of things that are failing. These are great ideas. As adults, we don't think about stuff like this because we're thinking, oh, that wouldn't work. Thank you for those ideas, Ms. Rupsh's class. Leanne?
Deborah Hinton. Miss Hinton's class ready? I think you're muted.
Okay, we're ready. All right. Come on, Luke and Archie. Come on, hurry. Come on, guys. Miles, come over too. We're coming. All right. Okay, Luke.
So my idea
All right,
is
scoot
to,
closer.
my idea is to
Louder.
So my idea is to dig a hole, and then you could build a pipe so nenes could fit through, and you could call it the nene hole. That way they wouldn't get squashed on the road.
Oh, so that would, okay.
So like a tunnel, maybe like a tunnel. Is that what you're thinking?
Okay. All right.
And people do that for things like turtles. It's a great idea.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Miss Skiles' class.
So there.
I have a question. I have a question.
Okay.
How often do the volcano erupt?
Oh, yes. Well, it really depends. It erupted 2 months ago, and before that, it was erupting for a year straight. And then there were 2 years it wasn't. And then there were 35 years that it was. So it really depends. People who've lived here all their lives say it depends on what Pele wants to do.
All right, Miss Zimmerman, let's do 2 more, but tell them not to panic because we're going to give everybody an opportunity to share virtually.
All right, so nobody panic. The next one on the list is just Deanna. Are you ready, Deanna?
My idea is similar to the one from Miss Rupch's class.
Talk louder.
My idea is similar to the one from Miss Rupch's class, but instead of like having them trimmed up, like they would capture them and bring them to the nearest like vet and something and have them spayed and neutered and taken care of.
And
I love that you said it was sort of like Miss Rupch's class. That's exactly what we're trying to do, is for you to learn from each other and then to make these problems or these solutions even stronger. So you mentioned spayed and neutered. So we do like that idea. Again, that's loving your pet to make sure that they don't get diseases or spread diseases. So thank you for sharing that. Miss Zimmerman?
Last one is Wendy Reed.
Okay, this is Makava and she has an idea.
So my idea is to set up cameras so that you can see if one of the feral cats is nearby, and then maybe like if there's like a booth nearby for park rangers, they can see the feral cats and they can like kind of like the last people who shared, they can kind of like trap them, but then get them down and then take them to like a little place where they can be taken care of.
Great.
And I love the idea of the compassion you are showing. None of you are saying kill things. None of you are saying trap them and never bring them back. You're saying let's do something to take care of them, but we're doing it in a compassionate way, right?
Yes, yes.
So with over 100 and some classrooms on today, we have a huge number. We know that all of you have ideas. So let me show you, teachers, where you're going to be able to share these ideas. So one of my hosts, please drop this into the chat. We're going to share these on Flipgrid. So you have an opportunity for 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes, to share your idea. And I promise you that Ranger Jody is going to see every single one of these and look through those and share those with her management team, because we have biologists on staff here. We have resource management on staff. In fact, I think your superintendent comes from a resource management background.
She does.
So all of these people care so much about what you've done. So let's put the slides back up one more time, Steve. Let's keep them up for just a moment. So we want you to share with Ranger Jody at this Flipgrid, and I think we just dropped it in the chat window.
Dr. Drizzle, I think we lost your sound.
All right, it looks like we lost.
Okay, it's back. Miss Zimmerman, we got a bad echo on yours as well.
Okay, try talking now.
Let me try talking again. Miss Zimmerman, can you give us a thumbs up if you hear us?
You are back,
I apologize.
Dr. Drizzle.
You are back and strong.
I think we were interrupted by Nene for just a moment. So we're going to encourage kids to also check us out at expeditionsandeducation.org/4th grade to see all of the collaborations we've done this year with the National Park Foundation. And we would like to do a survey. So the survey is going to help us find out what we've done well this year and what we could improve on. So you should see on the screen right now a QR code. There's also a web address, if my host would drop that in. Teachers, we're going to ask that if you complete the survey, we're going to put you into another drawing. Today, if you were on the call, you're actually in a drawing for a Crossing America Live event next year, and or some signed Marvin and Hutt books, because our Marvin and Hutt, The Adventures of Marvin and Hutt books are out now and on Amazon. But this survey is going to help us direct what we're doing in our program of Crossing America with the National Park Foundation. So please complete that. And Steve, if you can put it back on us for just a moment. Ranger Jody, first of all, thank you so much. Boy, the sun has come up now. I need my
changed
sunglasses.
everything. Yes.
Thank you so much for being our friend first.
Very
We've known each other for a couple of years through our work with the national parks.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us here. Thank you for allowing 50 educators to come here this summer to learn even more for STEAM in the
excited.
park. Do you have any final words of wisdom or encouragement for our students that are solving problems?
Yes. And thank you for coming. It's been great having you here, and it's been great meeting all of you. I'm excited to see your solutions on the Flipgrid. I loved hearing what you said today. Those are all great ideas. Some of them very, very practical that are actually happening. So keep on learning about parks and helping us solve the problems that we have.
Students, again, thank you. This is our final event for this school year for Crossing America. For those of you teachers that are wondering if you won the Crossing America Live event for next school year or a book, we will tally all the people that were on today, and we will randomly generate and pull some winners, and we will let you know this tomorrow. So thank you to Leanne and Robin and Rodney and Katina and all of the teachers that are online today. Thank you to the students who are doing their part to solve problems. We need you. You are the most important people in our national parks right now, because you are the generation that is rising up to take over this stewardship. In fact, some of you may be here in 10 years wearing one of these flat hats and working for the parks. So on behalf of Expeditions and Education, the National Park Foundation, and Hawaii Volcanoes, this is Dr. Drizzle and Ranger Jody, and we are out of here. Everybody can turn on your microphones for a moment and tell us aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha.